break Saints' 54-year QB draft tradition amid Derek Carr's injury setback. In a stunning potential shift for the New Orleans Saints, the franchise stands on the verge of breaking a tradition that has lasted over 5 decades. At the heart of this possible revolution is none other than Shedeur Sanders, the rising star quarterback from Colorado. With Derek Carr's future in question due to a shoulder injury, the Saints may be forced to make a historic move, selecting a quarterback in the first round of the NFL draft for the first time since 1971. For years, the Saints have remained consistent in their approach to quarterbacks: acquire experience, invest in veterans, and avoid early draft picks at the position. But Derek Carr's recent injury could change all of that. Carr, who was expected to lead the Saints into the 2025 season, is now a major question mark. Shoulder surgery is on the table, and even if he recovers, his readiness and long-term durability remain uncertain. This sudden vacuum at quarterback has thrust the Saints into an unfamiliar position, one where they must consider building from the ground up. Enter Shedeur Sanders. The son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, Shedeur has not only inherited his father's athleticism, but has also developed a sharp football IQ and an undeniable leadership presence on and off the field. From his viral high school moment, when his father famously pulled him aside for getting too emotional during a game, to his calm and commanding presence at Colorado, Shedeur has matured into a quarterback built for big moments. On the April 17th episode of ESPN's Get Up, draft expert Mel Kiper Jr. stirred up even more intrigue by suggesting Shedeur would be a perfect fit for the Saints. Shedeur Sanders in a dome. Atlanta's also a dome. And you got Carolina, Tampa Bay. I would say, why not Shedeur? It would be a perfect fit in New Orleans, Kiper said. He even placed Sanders as the 5th best player on his draft board, a ranking that would make him a legitimate target for the Saints, who currently hold the 9th overall pick. But will it actually happen? Despite the buzz, skepticism remains. NFL insider Adam Schefter added complexity to the narrative, revealing that many around the league aren't convinced the Saints will go for Sanders. When you talk to people around the league, I don't think they believe the Saints are taking Shedeur Sanders, Schefter remarked. There's also the matter of history. The last time the Saints selected a quarterback in either the first or second round of the NFL draft was in 1971, when they picked the legendary Archie Manning. Since then, they've opted to trade for or sign veteran signal callers rather than develop young prospects from scratch. This tradition has defined their QB strategy for 54 years, making a potential Sanders pick all the more groundbreaking. Still, change may be inevitable. With other teams like the New York Giants expressing interest in moving up or down in the draft, the board is far from settled. The Saints could find themselves in a bidding war, or be forced to act fast before another team pounces on Sanders. The Steelers, for example, have been linked to Sanders as a possible pick at number 21, though many experts believe that would be a steal. And Shedeur? He's not shy about his aspirations. Speaking during the NFL Combine, he made it clear, "If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me." His message was as confident as it was defiant. He doesn't just want to play in the NFL. He wants to lead, elevate, and transform. His alma mater clearly agrees. The Colorado Buffaloes recently announced they will retire the jerseys of both Shedeur Sanders, number 2, and Travis Hunter, number 12, a rare honor that underscores their impact and talent. That move sent a powerful message to NFL teams. These players are special, once-in-a-generation talents. So, will the Saints take the leap and draft Shedeur Sanders, breaking with half a century of tradition? Or will they play it safe and stick to their old ways, hoping Carr recovers in time to steer the team? As draft day approaches, all eyes will be on New Orleans. One phone call could change everything, for the Saints, for Sanders, and for the future of the franchise. The countdown has begun. Deion Sanders' potential Travis Hunter replacement announces major update as Colorado HC warned about locker room meltdown. It's a new day in Boulder, and not everybody's ready for it. Coach Prime's empire is shifting. With Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders heading to the NFL, Colorado football is entering a whole new era. An $11 million a year contract just locked Deion Sanders in through 2029, but the spring transfer portal's already got him scrambling for his next chess piece. And just when a former 5-star talent made a big move, Buffs insiders dropped a warning. This next chapter might come with serious locker room fireworks. Hakeem Williams, the highly recruited five-star wideout from the Mike Norvell era at Florida State, is back on the market. Injuries kept his career from ever really taking off in Tallahassee, but his raw potential? Still elite. Now, word is he's lining up a visit to Boulder. Williams was that guy coming out of high school, a 98 grade from 247 Sports, number 24 overall in the 2023 class. He chose FSU over Georgia, Pitt, and Miami. His frame, speed, and flashes of brilliance made scouts raise eyebrows. But injuries stacked up like unpaid parking tickets. A sprained ankle, a nagging hamstring, and finally a broken thumb after a bizarre sideline accident? Tough breaks, literally. Now, with 2 years of eligibility left, he's hitting reset, and Colorado's firmly in the picture. Buffs insider Jake Schwanitz literally confirmed that Williams is low-key scheduled to visit Boulder next week. That trip includes stops at Syracuse and Pitt. But let's be real, Coach Prime's name still holds heavyweight sway. Williams to Colorado? It's more than just buzz, it's very much in play. From five-star swag to FSU frustration, Williams' FSU tenure never lived up to its five-star billing. He put up just 267 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in 2 seasons. But when he was healthy, he flashed real promise. That freshman touchdown against Syracuse? That was his Heisman moment. And let's not forget, this isn't just any potential transfer. This is the same Hakeem Williams who once went viral for throwing shade at Travis Hunter, saying on IG Live, "Go Noles, baby. Ain't no Travis Hunter over here. We locked in, time to work." That line hit hard. Travis had flipped from FSU to Jackson State under Deion, shocking the country. It was a bold move that eventually paid off. Hunter won the Heisman and is now projected as a top 3 pick. Williams, meanwhile, stayed loyal to the Noles and now might be walking into Hunter's old locker in Colorado. "Could never be me," Hunter clapped back on X at the time. Boy, did he lie. Now, the fans are already side-eyeing this move and warning Deion Sanders, potential locker room meltdown. Trouble brewing in Boulder? Deion Sanders issued stark meltdown alert. Here's where it gets sticky. The Buffs' locker room is still healing. Hunter and Shedeur were the emotional anchors. Replacing that leadership takes more than talent. And the second fans caught wind of Hakeem's visit, the alarm bells started going off. Comments on Schwanitz's post blew up. "Isn't this the dude who was taking shots at Travis Skull?" one fan asked. Another added, "Don't trust it. He using the name for buzz. It's not just fans with receipts. Players talk." You know, some of those Buffs remember that 2022 IG Live clip. It's not about one comment. It's about energy. And the question is, does Hakeem bring the type of energy this team needs, or the kind that fractures trust before camp even starts? Given the bad blood between Travis Hunter and Hakeem Williams, there's concern that if Williams joins Colorado, it could low-key disrupt the locker room dynamic. Some teammates might not be too thrilled about welcoming him in. Look, Deion Sanders has built his program around belief, swagger, and culture. He doesn't need haymakers, he wants soldiers. Loyalty matters. Chemistry matters. And after a rocky 2024, Colorado needs less drama and more cohesion. That $10 million contract extension wasn't just about recruiting hype. It's a statement. Colorado's riding with Deion Sanders, win or lose. But with the program at a pivot point, Prime's next few moves are going to shape the next 3 years. Last season was a tale of two halves. Colorado started hot, faded fast, and missed the postseason. Now with Hunter and Shedeur gone, there's no safety net. Every transfer, every recruit matters. Which brings us back to Hakeem. If Coach Prime sees something in him, something worth betting the culture on, then maybe this is a redemption arc. Maybe Hakeem grows from the guy who made brash statements into the guy who makes game-breaking plays. But that's a big maybe. If Hakeem Williams suits up in black and gold this fall, he won't just be catching passes. He'll be stepping into the shadow of Travis Hunter, wearing the weight of old receipts and fresh expectations. Things aren't the same in Colorado locker room, as Coach Prime warns Julian Lewis and company. After ACC programs tampering exposed, the transfer portal has become a live chaos. Be it an unregulated nil market or the players' loose ends of the mind that can swing with the money, it makes things very complex for the coaches. To bypass the trouble, coaches like Auburn's Matt Rule wanted to hold off the spring practice, fearing new tampering. Tennessee's Josh Heupel had to take a harsh call on Nico Iamaleava after his historic practice holdout in demand of a big-money contract. And amid the chaos, can Deion Sanders be left behind? Nah. Sanders, heading into the first season without his sons by his side, addressed the glaring issue in the mix to shield his program from any potential fallout. But what's the tea? Despite the extreme mess in governing the college football offseason, Sanders couldn't feel the effect directly so far. But as things stretched and hit the boulder, he, as always, didn't take more to lash out. Sanders kept it straight and savage. He openly called out Tony Elliott and the University of Virginia football program for attempting to tamper. Those who are unversed, the term denotes an enticing effort to snag a player from another school with some bigger paychecks before that player even hits the portal. During an eventful practice in Colorado on Thursday, Deion Sanders, in front of the camera, sent a chilling warning to fellow FBS giant, the Virginia Cavaliers, for eyeing his players with a bag, otherwise known as a large sum of nil money. Sanders had some doubts about some cryptic antics of the school. To be sanguine, he asked junior defensive back Carter Stoutmire about who offered him the money to move on from the Buffs. And the answer? Carter unhesitantly confessed it was the University of Virginia. Deion instantly moved back to the camera and adamantly addressed the $4.5 million worth head coach and his staff. Virginia. Where's the camera? Virginia, you gotta stop. I'll let you have one. I ain't say nothing about it. Come on now, Sanders fumed in rage. Come on. We let you have one. I ain't say nothing about it, Sanders added, referring to RB Isaiah Augustov, who hit the transfer portal on Wednesday and is expected to visit the Cavaliers program. But guess what? His warning was not just about the outside program and coaches. The real motive was to whip the cat of the mistress who doesn't spin. Sanders put players on notice. Anybody got anything they want to say? Anybody planning on using us, getting on national TV, and then jumping into the portal? You know if I'm saying this, it's already known. Deion knows the nerves of his guys. Carter might be the one with a profound loyalty to the program, but not everyone will follow suit. Carter loudly said that no number exists in math that can shake up his mind to leave the Buffs behind. Deion's cutthroat message wasn't for him. Hopefully, it reached the target mass without fail, and Sanders might have managed to create the air of alert he intended to. The rest falls on the stars. However, another coach came up and divulged a safe practice for the coaches to keep a clean record of this tampering game. Dabo Swinney depicts a safe code of contact for coaches with outside players. Clemson Tigers' Dabo Swinney has expressed frustration over tampering amidst the ongoing portal unrest. Back in September, Swinney said on a weekly conference call with reporters, "There's certainly a lot of tampering from people after games, that's for sure. I've had several people over the last couple of years who have brought that up to me, or somebody's come over to them. I've had parents tell me that. That's just kind of the way it is, the way of the world right now. There aren't a lot of barriers." However, heading into the spring, Swinney had a pretty clear headspace on the lingering off-season drama. He didn't televise the Tigers' spring game and made it clear that it was not out of his fear to avoid the coaches and scouts. Rather, the veteran head coach believes you can't run from the tampering. If players don't want to stay, they won't anyway. So, that's not a concern. What feels more disturbing to him is that people often don't understand the fine line between being pushy and being communicative with the players. Swinney said he doesn't take any risks. He usually limits his post-game communication with opposing players to handshakes. He added, "I ain't going over there saying, 'Hey man, if you hate it there, come play for us.' I don't do any of that stuff. On the road, I try to congratulate players, but I don't get involved with any of that stuff. I think that's probably pretty obvious." Coaches can take note and avoid future disruption. And of course, a pair of red eyes from the Colorado head coach. Insider dampens Deion Sanders' vision as 5'13". YD QB emerges as real threat to son Shedeur's draft dignity. The quarterback hoopla has never spun without a little chaos, but few predicted this late twist in the 2025 NFL draft script. Colorado's Shedeur Sanders, once locked in as a top 5 pick, now finds himself going down in the slippery slope of draft boards. And while Deion Sanders still believes his son's arm and mind are NFL ready, some insiders are casting doubt on whether Shedeur has enough superhero flair to justify that first-round status. Here enters a 6'2" Mississippi boy, whose name is suddenly surging into the conversation as he's threatening to leapfrog Sanders at the 11th hour. But on college football sports with his smoke hip-hop live, host DJ Bless One pulled no punches while pointing to Jackson Dart's smiling photo on screen. Jackson Dart, who's over here by me, he will be getting drafted before Shedeur Sanders, he straight up said. This is something I just found. I've been looking at it for a while. How things been progressing. Bless One outlined a subtle shift, a trend most hadn't picked up on. Certain teams quietly shifting their focus from the well-hyped Shedeur Sanders to the Ole Miss QB. Jackson Dart, prior to this 3-month period, just like every situation when it comes to the draft, he was predicted a 2-day draft pick at best, he explained. What changed? Momentum. The Ole Miss quarterback, who was a former USC quarterback, just embarrassing moments going on. Nobody gets this type of situation and this type of luxury unless you know certain guaranteed things are happening. Bless One sounded like a man who'd seen this movie before. Now what's going on right now? I'ma just be honest with you. Jackson is also he had an announcement on the 14th that he's being invited to the NFL draft out of nowhere. Well, the hype? Understable. He's the word of mouth now. Now he has an invite. Never had one before. Didn't even talk about going. Now he has an invite. So he's guaranteed to be in the top 10. Blessone's projection? I predict he will be in the top 6. He will go over Shedeur. That said, Bless One wasn't sold on Jackson Dart's actual tape. Jackson Dart hasn't showed me he's an NFL talent like that at all, bro. The only thing he possesses is the frame, Bless One said. But we've seen a lot of quarterbacks like Blake Bortles, who are 6'5" and above. What does that mean? He continued, just the same way we've seen the Russell Wilsons of the world, Drew Brees, who are 6 foot and under, and they outperform their prototype counterparts. Stop telling me about how these type of quarterbacks look, how they're marketable. Are they top-giving players that are worthy of the selection? Still, it's not just internet chatter fueling Dart's rise. Word is that several teams, including the New York Giants, are interested in the 6'2" Mississippi kid. Fox Sports insider Jordan Schultz revealed that Dart won't fall out of the first round, citing several sources. One scenario making the rounds. If the Giants take Travis Hunter or Penn State's Abdul Carter with the number 3 pick, they might trade up from number 34 to snatch Dart before he slips past them. It's more than just a speculative smoke signal. Giants HC Brian Dable reportedly likes Dart's swashbuckling style and flair for the dramatic. For a franchise that's been starved for swagger at QB, that might be enough. The irony? This sudden Dart renaissance has inadvertently pulled Shedeur's resume under the microscope. Yes, he's the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Yes, he has thrown for over 3,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. But with so much NFL emphasis on intangibles, interviews, and public perception, especially following that arrogant label from a combined coach, his evaluation seems to be shifting from what's on tape to what's in the room. If there's one thing draft season proves every year, it's that narratives move faster than 40 times. One day you're top 5, next you're watching someone else snag your invite. From the Steelers' POV on Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart. If you're hoping the Steelers would take a swing at a QB like Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart with the 21st pick, you might want to pump the brakes. At least if you're listening to NFL scout and analyst Matt Williamson. In his eyes, this year's QB class isn't exactly bursting with elite, can't-miss talent. Dart, no. Sanders, maybe. Only at 21, not to trade up, Williamson said bluntly when asked if either QB is worth a first-round selection. It's not that he hates their games. He's just not convinced they move the needle, especially when you look around the AFC. The Steelers have to compete with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes. The superheroes, Williamson pointed out. I want to aim higher than Shedeur Sanders, whether that's this draft or, more likely, next draft. He gave Shedeur the credit for being accurate, tough, and composed, but added he's not physically unique. As for Dart, there's some raw talent there, sure, but Williamson thinks he's further away from being a good NFL quarterback. In a conference filled with QB Avengers, the Steelers can't afford to settle for just okay. Shiloh Sanders exposes father Deion brutally in public after pitching package deal to Kellen Moore's Saints. For Coach Prime, Shiloh Sanders is proving to be a real heel spur. Shedeur moves like a polished quarterback with a pro-ready narrative. Shilo brings the chaotic energy that doesn't always follow the script. He is brash, unpredictable, and has no problem throwing curveballs. Well, even when the target is his own father. And this time, the former Buff safety decided to playfully tease his dad on air on the We Got Time Today show with Deion Sanders and Roxy Diaz. The cameras caught Shilo turning what was supposed to be a nice family chat into a bit of an unscripted roast session. Coach Prime was definitely taken aback, but the internet? They were loving it. Deion Sanders is definitely known for those classic lines. Look good, feel good, play good. And Time is a wonderful storyteller. You could probably fill a whole book with them. Plus, he's always dropping those bits of wisdom about life and discipline that make you wonder where it all comes from. Well, while the show was aiming to share some inspiration from the Sanders family, Shiloh decided to inject some comedy right in the middle. Roxy asked a pretty easy question. Is there life lessons that you guys take to heart every single day? I know there's many because he drops the wisdom all the time, but that's when Shiloh dropped his little bomb. He used ChatGPT, by the way, for all that, Shiloh joked. I was like, you don't use that. That's the AI. That's the AI. The room froze. You could see Coach Prime's face immediately switching to that. I'm about to have a word with you off camera, Dad, look. Deion fired back. I don't even know what that means, visibly trying to maintain composure while the camera rolled. The iconic coach wasn't ready for the ambush. Shiloh Sanders, grinning but sensing danger, quickly attempted a pivot. You don't use it, he said, switching his tone. I was just bragging about him. He has so much wisdom and riddles. He never runs out. Well, it's too late. The Prime GPT jokes are already out in the wild. But beneath the laugh track moment was a real spotlight on Shiloh, someone long overshadowed by his brother's stardom and his dad's legend. Unlike Shedeur Sanders, who's penciled into every draft board's top 5, Shiloh is hovering in late-round projections, possibly even undrafted territory. Still, he put up respectable numbers as a safety. His 4.52-second 40-yard dash may not be Olympic, but it's still solid for his position. It's not the 4.4 Deion challenged him to hit, but considering his instincts and ability to read coverages, Shiloh's speed is serviceable. He's rangy enough to play either strong or free safety and bring value on special teams. Yet there's also the sneaky suspicion that Shiloh might not be headed to the NFL alone. As he himself speculated, the rumor of the potential of a package deal with Shedeur and the New Orleans Saints are quietly at the center of it. Shiloh didn't exactly squash the idea either. In the same episode, the idea floated mid-discussion, without dismissal. We're a package deal, so we might package deal this thing. We might bring Coach Prime in a few years, too. Considering Kellen Moore's system and his eye for dual-threat talent, it wouldn't be completely off-script for the Saints to snag both brothers in one swoop. While on paper, it sounds like a marketing stunt, there's a practical side to the move. Shedeur brings poise and NFL-caliber pocket presence. Shiloh, he brings edge, physicality, and the kind of locker room spark coaches quietly crave. Whether it's a day 3 flyer or a priority UDFA, he'll be in a camp this summer, and probably chirping in his brother's ear while doing it. His tape shows a willingness to hit, decent ball tracking. The same guy who said his dad uses ChatGPT might just bring an old-school punch to a modern defense. Don't sleep on Shiloh Sanders. He could be a sneaky day 3 steal. While Shedeur Sanders continues to hog the spotlight as a potential franchise quarterback and surefire first-rounder, his big brother Shilo might just be carving out his own path to the NFL, quietly, but confidently. The Colorado safety brings more to the table than just the famous last name. At 6'0", 195 pounds, Shiloh's got the physical tools and the instincts that make him intriguing. He's got a true nose for the ball and a knack for generating turnovers, something NFL teams love in late-round prospects. His football IQ is strong, and he offers the flexibility to play either safety spot at the next level. Now, he's not a can't-miss prospect. There's still some refining to do, particularly with his tackling technique, play recognition, and man coverage. But with some solid coaching and a good system, Shiloh has the makeup to be a quality depth piece early in his career. He may not have the high ceiling of a superstar, but he's absolutely worth a day 3 flyer. Teams looking to shore up the secondary with a smart, physical, and motivated safety could do a lot worse than rolling the dice on a Sanders. Deion Sanders had Shedeur practice his signature as a kid. Now that autograph is worth millions in a major deal. Coach Prime now watches proudly as Shedeur turns that pencil stroke into real success. That IT was just a pen, a sheet of paper, and a father with a vision. 14 years ago, Deion Sanders, NFL Hall of Famer, Dallas Cowboys legend, and now head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, had his young son Shedeur Sanders practice his autograph. He wasn't famous yet. There were no fans, no cameras, no contracts. Just Coach Prime and his little boy, preparing for a future that only one of them could see clearly. Now fast forward to 2025, and that same signature once scribbled in a childhood bedroom is the centerpiece of a multi-million-dollar trading card deal with Panini. The pen stroke Shedeur perfected as a kid has officially become part of his brand, his identity, and his launch into a life at the next level. And it's not just any deal, it's a major partnership that positions Shedeur as one of the hottest rising stars in football. Coach Prime saw it coming. The signature paid off, and now it's worth millions. Coach Prime has always believed in preparation beyond the present. He was ahead of the game when he played, he's been ahead of the game as a coach, and now we're seeing how far ahead he was as a father. Be ready before your moment comes isn't just a motto, it's how he raised his kids. And with Shedeur, that mindset is paying off in a big way. The quarterback has become one of the most talked about prospects heading into the 2025 NFL Draft. After a standout career at Jackson State, and then Colorado under his father's leadership at Colorado, Shedeur Sanders continued to shine in the 2024 season, throwing for over 4,134 yards and 37 touchdowns. Once again proving his elite talent despite continued pressure behind a still-developing offensive line. His poise, decision-making, and arm strength have only elevated his draft stock, and NFL scouts are paying close attention. Beyond the field, Shedeur's charisma and brand potential make him one of the most marketable prospects in the 2025 NFL Draft, and his exclusive Panini deal is just the beginning of that value coming to life. Coach Prime has always believed in preparation beyond the present. He was ahead of the game when he played, he's been ahead of the game as a coach, and now we're seeing how far ahead he was as a father. Be ready before your moment comes isn't just a motto, it's how he raised his kids. And with Shedeur, that mindset is paying off in a big way. The quarterback has become one of the most talked about prospects heading into the 2025 NFL Draft. After a standout career at Jackson State, and then Colorado under his father's leadership. At Colorado, Shedeur Sanders continued to shine in the 2024 season, throwing for over 4,134 yards and 37 touchdowns. Once again proving his elite talent despite continued pressure behind a still-developing offensive line. His poise, decision-making, and arm strength have only elevated his draft stock, and NFL scouts are paying close attention. Beyond the field, Shedeur's charisma and brand potential make him one of the most marketable prospects in the 2025 NFL Draft, and his exclusive Panini deal is just the